Hello guys, and welcome live stream. My name is Willan, and this is my first live stream. So, in case you see me looking to the side or doing something else, it's my first time doing a live stream. So, my things that I'm tweaking out. There are a few things that I also don't know, given that this is my first stream. So, bear with me, and also keep up and share the link if you can. So in today's video I'm going to be speaking about life in campus and how it's been being an engineer, and how it was on campus, a few things that I think that could have helped if I had changed, and if I could, and how it's been like from experience and being in school. I joined campus back in 2016. That's around 8 years ago, which is quite a challenging course. But that one, it's a mixture of, and it's also challenging given that what you can do as an engineer, and in this part of the world, in Kenya to be precise, and in Africa, it's taken. It's the people don't appreciate it that much because, say for example, today you applied for a job at a certain company. They will either be an electrical engineer or a computer scientist. It gives it a hard time because if you are bringing in specific skill sets which are in those, and somebody wants somebody who is specific to a certain field, then you see you are left in limbo. So a company will go on to become an engineer, a computer, On the other hand, it has its own advantages because the company wants to classify, they will look for mechatronic engineer all in one. So that's the kind of position that we are in. But you get to move around and see a few things, so you find where you fit. So basically, most of the mechatronic engineers or the people that I know who have done mechatronic engineering end up settling for either of those fields. So some end up in mechanical, others will end up in electrical or computer and software engineering. Most at the moment I've ended up being computer and software engineers, myself included. I think for the bigger part I have mostly delved into engineering or computer science, which in part is quite complicated if you've not done computer science, but and you can research, you can go on your own way and move forward. So say for example, after I was done with campus, I joined a company that deals with the security system. I will not be mentioning the name, but if you see me, I have been in this company. We were dealing with basically dealing with security solutions in IT, which would in the CTV cameras and scanners, barriers, and a variety of other infrastructure, cabling, all those. So then this field does not really, there is no field that lives independent of other fields. So because like you see, if you're doing things in the security area, you'll be dealing with a lot of things that involve electrical. So it cannot in of itself be a course that is that you can go and practice. So you have to know things such as how electrical systems work. You have to know how components work, how circuits work. You have to understand these things because in practice you will come and see that you will be dealing with things such as motors. You'll be dealing with things such as cameras that require power. You'll be dealing with locks. So you see, with scanners, gates, barriers, which are mechanical parts. So in a way, being in mechatronics helped me to chart a certain path for myself, because now I can interchangeably do these things in a snap. Because if I go to site, or if I go to a certain building, or if I go to a certain place where the systems are not working, I can be able to look at it from a larger perspective. I can be able to view things from an electrical engineer perspective, from a mechanical engineer's perspective, and if all these things are right, then it will leave me with the option, which is the system is problem. Then I will be able now to dive into the system and resolve the problem. So these things. So I worked in the company for approximately 1 year and some few months, from a ship to a job, and then later on I could leave and go and try on something else. See, the problem is we get tired so quickly from either saturation or lack of contentment for the kind of environment that we are working in. So I decided that it was time for me to move on to something else. So I resigned from that job. Mind you, at this point, I think I had learned enough from the environment there, from the people. I was working with a very amazing team of people who are willing to teach, who are willing to learn, and to share their knowledge. So that was one of the best parts about working there. So then from there I joined the second job, where I had gotten an offer to be, in the first job I was a technical support engineer. After I was a technical support intern. So then the second job I joined in as a technical customer support. So I was supposed to be dealing with client problems, relating, and then instructing the technicians who are going to attend to those problems in the field. So this was the second job. In the second job was also IT related, less engineering, if I might say, but more of dealing with the services. So in it, we would get a client problem from an existing system, diagnose, find out the problem, then send the problem to the technician, then send the technician to the field to go and deal with those problems. So this was a vehicle and cargo tracking company that's also in part security, if I can say, and also in part IT and IoT related stuffs. So in the second job, I got moved up quickly because I think I did the job for 1 month, and then I got promoted to become a technical lead for that company. The roles were quite overlapping, so there isn't much that changed, except now in the case of being a technical lead, technical team lead, you get to now lead a team in terms of a manager's position. So you get to be involved in how they are trained, how they execute their works, the processes that they're dealing with, and also their problems. Because when in a managerial position, there are things that you get to learn about your technical team or your technicians, like what problems they are going through. And sometimes you'll find that it's not just work related. Sometimes issues do overlap and you have to deal with them as they come, because if you want your team to be performing optimally, you also have to deal with their baggage. And sometimes in small teams, this becomes something that you have to deal with, because at the end of the day, you have to serve the clients that you're dealing with, and you have to serve the people that you're dealing with. So you have to make sure that your people are in a position where you can be able to manage them. So in this position, I got to deal with quite a handful, and you get to learn a lot about the corporate world, which I don't think is something that is quite taught much in an engineering field, as much as I feel that this should be something that was taught. Because when you get out there as an engineer, you are expecting to only be working with the systems, to be working with the devices, equipments, which is quite simple, because equipments don't have emotions. Equipments don't work when they want to. Systems have a certain way in which they work, and that way always works, except when it doesn't. Then you have to resolve that as a problem. But you see, when you're dealing with people, there are a lot of things that come up, and people are not machines, they are not objects. So, and then there is, apart from dealing with people, there is also dealing with management. There is also dealing with the clients. There is dealing with the money. There is dealing with stock. All these things revolve around the things that you find when you get into the corporate world, because from an education point of view, these are things that no one will teach you. Because I remember, I'm sure that in my entire course, or my entire 5-year course, the way that we were taught things was quite more of what you should do and how to do it. So there was never much of how to handle like office pressure. There was nothing to do with how I could handle the people that I was dealing with. Which in essence, this is one of the most crucial parts that you will now have to deal with when you go into the field. Because when you go into practice, now you start to understand that there is the engineering part, there is the manager part, and then there is also the human resource part, which I think was taught in theory, and I can remember the classes when you were taught how company structures work, industrial law, how to deal with people. But then you come out here into the world, into the working world, and you find that things are totally different. Like there is no room for free thinking. There is no room for changing systems as much as you want, so you have to conform to a certain way. So it becomes quite hard because as much as you are taught that if systems are not working, you have to improve them, you find that there is no way that you can improve them, given that there is already existing control that you cannot change that much. So in my view, if I was to suggest something, would be that engineering needs to stop being a do subject, or not a do subject per se, or in short, what I mean is it needs to get to a point where as an engineer you need to understand how to maneuver. For example, you need to be able to understand how to be business oriented, how to handle businesses, how to handle because you find you are out there as an engineer, there are opportunities even for yourself or for the place that you work for, but then you find you don't have the basic skills of a business person, or you don't have the basic skills of an entrepreneur, which would come quite in handy given that you already know your stuff. You already know how to do these things, 1, 2, 3. You already know how to do, say, for example, electrical problems. You know how to solve them. You know how to do an installation from scratch. You can design. You can do everything. You can design a building. You can get the parts. You can get it constructed. You can manage your people, but there is no grasp as to how you can go from being an engineer to being an entrepreneur, from where you can come from, where you can sell what you know. In short, instead of going out to get employed, there is no opportunity for you to come from knowing something and then selling it. So basically you are taught that you can come from being a student to getting employed, then working as an employee, which is quite a limited model in my view, because there is only too much you can do in the employment world, and there are also quite a limited number of jobs that you can have. So say for example in an institution, in an engineering institution, say a small business, there is room for one CEO, maybe 3 managers, and in the engineering department as a whole, at the product design and all, there are say 6 positions for product engineers, senior engineers, testing QA engineers, and maybe repair engineers, maintenance engineers. Then the rest now will fall as technicians. That will be like 16 people will fall as technicians. which in this case now, if you divide these layers from the CEO down to the technicians, you find that most of the engineers will fall under the category of managing the engineering department, say for example, which would be 6 people. Then the diploma engineers and the technicians and craftsmen will then fall as technicians, which keeps you in a position where there are only 8 opportunities or 6 opportunities in a company for engineers in a trained class of say 60 engineers each year. So this kind of limitation is where I feel that it would be inept, or it would be it would be in the long run of importance if engineers could be entrepreneurs. I know most of my friends and most of the people that I went to school with, at this point, most of them are not even engineers, most of them are entrepreneurs. I know some are doing website design, some are doing website development, others are into advertising, which is quite a good way to go about it, because most of them have learned how to navigate the job market, and they have gone into fields that don't even relate to engineering. So if we were in a position where we could explore engineering as an entrepreneurship, if we could be able to move from what we know as engineers, what we can practice, to selling that which we have, not selling our labor, or not selling as employees, would be, I think, the next step of engineering. Because think of how many jobs that exist only in the AI world, for example. This is for software engineers. If you could be able to open your own startup, or even a small business, say for example, you as 2, 3, 4 engineers, you come up with a simple software, say an ERP software that automates HR processes, for example, because you find that many companies do have HR, but you can only manage to have so much in the HR department. But if you add like an automation process that can be able to handle requests, can be able to schedule employees, taking in when they have their leaves, when they have their off days, how many hours they have worked, and automate this process to such a position where the HR department has only to deal with the human matters. For example, has to deal with conflicts resolution, has to deal with matters that arise only or on the spot that say AI cannot be able to deal with. So if you are like 3 or 4 engineers and you come up with such a solution, and you can be able to market it and sell it, you see, you move from the gap of being an engineer and not an employee, but not you move into entrepreneurship. So I feel that if we could bridge this gap, it would be very, very important for engineers, and it would also put less pressure on how much jobs we have to create. So say like now I have most of there are engineers that I know of who have ended up being teachers. But it's not that it's bad, it's a very noble place to practice, because you get to bring up the next phase of engineers. But then we also, on the other hand, we also deprive the world of the ideas, of the things that these engineers could do out there, because most of them have ideas, but they don't have a way to navigate from idea phase, execution, and then to move on to entrepreneurship. Say for example, we were taught how to do, say for example, in our final year project, we were taught to make products or make systems that solve problems. but then we were not taught how to find those problems, how to identify problems in the society, for example. We were not taught how to identify solutions that could be used to the society, how to market those solutions, how to find if those solutions are feasible with the current society. Because you can create a robot, for example, here in Kenya, but to what extent does that robot solve the existing problems? Because then if you create a robot that has no relations to the problems that are in Kenya, or that has no relations to the people that are living in the society at the moment, then you have no market. So you see how you sample your ideas from the market to execution and then to marketing is not really taught. So we came up with very ridiculous projects, very big. I'm not saying they were ridiculous in terms of execution or anything, but they were great projects. But if you look at it from a society point of view, I remember my final year project, the person who was our end of department came up and asked, so in this project, it's a very big project. We had done facial recognition, AI integration, chatbot for a system that had a digital twin, which is a Web 3.0. So there was a digital twin, a physical system, a login platform where you are facially authenticated. Then you could control parameters of the existing physical system using the twin. But then now you see, he comes and asks, so this project of yours is quite big, and how you've managed to do 80% of it, that's okay. But how does this project apply to a local mama mboga that's a local saleswoman? So how does it apply? And it was quite a tough position to be in, to try to answer that question, given I had an idea how it could help, but most of us didn't. The other people in our group had no idea how this project would be used for mama mboga. And in truth, even if I answered that question, that project had no application to a local mama mboga, which is an existing problem in our current locale. So where I went to school in Dedan Kimathi, there are a lot of mama mbogas around. There are a lot of shops around, but the solution that we had come up with for the project had no local applications except for big companies. So in terms of my market, then now I'll be limited to selling these products to big companies, and selling it to big companies. Most of the big companies are in our country are not even in that position, because we are in a position where our country just wants to simplify small problems, not big problems, in which my project is a big problem solution. So I think there is a way that we could have gone about it, and most of us would have ended up as entrepreneurs, and we could have been able to sell ourselves as a product rather than selling what we know as a skill. So what I mean is, so I get employed in a company, and I sell my engineering skills in exchange for money. But then, as a person, I have no value to that company except the skill that I offer. But you see, if you can be able to sell yourself as a product, you sell you are capable of doing these things. You have a certain flow of systems, or a certain flow of things that you can do, for example, and that can sell you out there. So if you could be able to go out there, find a problem, come make a solution, and then sell that solution, So you see, now you are a key point to that solution, and you are also part and parcel of solving a certain existing problem, which means you become a product in that. If a problem comes, if you go and you see a problem, you can be able to solve that problem. I don't know if you can get me, but in essence, that is what I mean. So I think entrepreneurship is a very important factor and a very important part in society today. And most of the people will end up being, say, millionaires and billionaires, will be people who can be able to switch up from being what they are to being an entrepreneur. Say, you have a course in tourism. You have gone through the 4 years of a course as a in tourism, and you have done maybe hospitality and management. But how you move from there is what matters. If you can be able to market yourself and not the skill that you have, because if you're going to look out for a job, then you're marketing your skill. But if you can market yourself instead, like so you graduate with a degree in tourism, so what next? Will you go and get employment, or will you create a system that allows you to be able to get tourists coming into Kenya and controlling how they go through Kenya and how they experience Kenya? Because one way you are getting paid for the skill that you know, but the other one you are paying yourself for a skill that you know. Get the difference? Because to be paid for a skill, you'll be paid per hour of work, which would mean that you're making, say, $5 per hour. That is Kenya, of course. That's even a very quite high rate, but you're getting $5 per hour, which would make your daily income $40 per hour. This is guaranteed, of course. If you are employed, this is 30 days of guaranteed pay. But say you start selling yourself as a personalized tour guide, or as a, say, as a itinerary, what you plan out how people's itinerary will be throughout the journey and make sure that it's executed from scratch to end. Now you have gotten paid for a trip coming to Kenya around say $5,000. Now you are going to plan for this person the next days that he's going to be spending from for the next 4 days. You're going to planning how they'll be moving around in Kenya. So you can get 2 or 3 people like this in a month. You already have created systems where you know where they will need to sleep. You already know who to contact, who to call, which hotels. Now you have moved aside from the market and become a market yourself. You are marketing yourself. So when you get this money, you pay yourself, and then you make sure that these people have a good stay in Kenya. So you have sold yourself as a product, and in this product there are say you have created a local package. How think of it, how say Bonaventure Tours does it. They create a certain product. In it you will get to visit three national parks and stay for 2 days each, and then you will be staying at this lodge or this lodge or this lodge. You have like 4 lodges in which these people can stay, and as they are staying there, you have made sure that their stay is limited to a certain budget, and you can negotiate in this case because you are having an influx of people coming, so which means you can negotiate how much these people are paying into these institutions. So the rest is just your profit. And as you create these systems, you'll find now that you can get better deals, and these people will not be paying you for the product, they'll be paying you for convenience. So you have moved on from selling yourself now as a product and to selling yourself as a service. So in the long run, you will find that you have now 2, 3, or 4 people working for you. So you have created a job for four more people. But if you had gone into a job, you had created a job for you. You had created an opportunity for yourself, just one person, and your pay would be for one person. But in this case, you'll become an entire chain of events, an entire chain of employment, and you've created another whole new market. So if we could be able to change how we view our learning and how we go about the entire process of learning, like learning not to be employees, or learning not to be employed, but learning to create opportunities for ourselves, and learning to sell ourselves as brands, as products, as services. And now you find now that since you're not limited to just doing one thing, which is 9 to 5, you can actually do 2 more things. You can now actually leave this this first service that you're offering to an entirely different management, which now runs on its own, and now you can go on to creating another entire separate brand. So I would love if we were taught how, not just how the corporate works, but how to establish. Like, I'm pretty sure that most of the engineering students, student engineers out there, the graduate engineers, most of them have no idea how to write a grant, how to write for a grant. Most of them have no idea how to source funds for their projects. Most of them have no idea how to look for investors for their startups. Personally, myself, I don't. I have to work to find capital for my projects. I have to work to find funds for my startups. I have to work to find capital for my investments, in which there is a specific way of which you can go about it. You can go out there and get funds from grants, from investors who if you are able to convince them. But if you have no know-how how to deal with investors, or how to write for grants, then there is no chance for you to make it in this system, which demands there's a certain way of which things can be done and should be done. So if we could tune up how we go about our education and find a better way to learn how the market demands us to be as, say, engineers, or to be as engineers, or to be as graduates after campus, then we could be able to move quite a long way from traditional learning and employment process. Because, say, like right now, I'm pretty sure the numbers are at maybe 70% of youth are not employed, and this will not cease to be the case, given the fact that the system is still churning out the same kind of engineers and scientists, and doctors have quite done it for themselves. So I don't know. I don't know if they say if the same kind of problems as we do. In my view, or in the close friends that I know who are doctors, most of them are done with campus, got into internship, and most of them are either in private practice with other doctors, or are working somewhere. but there is also the few that are still running up for their internships to be moved into permanent and pensionable jobs. So there is that, but this would have been something that I think would have gone a long way to moving up, to moving us faster into getting money and getting rich, because that's the goal at the end of the day. And rich doesn't mean flaunting money, but whatever rich means to you, I think we could have gotten there way faster if we were able to market ourselves a bit better, and if we were able to handle the corporate world in a different way than we do now. So anyway, that's all that I had for today, and all that I felt like talking about. And I hope that I did good. I hope my video wasn't too laggy, because I don't know. This is my first video, and the software that I'm using here is quite laggy, so I don't know what for the life of me is going on the live. So yeah, if I hope that I did good. I hope my video wasn't too laggy, because I don't know. So if you have any questions, if you have something that you would like to know about me, about the things that I've been talking about and so on, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section, like, subscribe, and share the video, and share your thoughts as well. I would like to hear what you think, or you feel like would have gone a long way to helping you move along, how you have progressed in your field of practice, or wherever you are at the moment, maybe as an employee, maybe as an entrepreneur, maybe as a business owner, or whatever it is you're doing at the moment. How do you feel that anything that would have been done different, or what do you think would have been done different to help you get to a better position than you are right now? I know it's easy to rant over things, and it's easy to complain over small things, and most of the time we'll find that we will complain a lot of how things could be better, but at the end of the day, it's the effort that we put in that counts. And if we can go about it a different way, then better. If there is a certain way that you think that your way can improve somebody's life, then even better, share it. Let us talk, let us share ideas, because in the end, education is all about sharing ideas. And if your idea is better, then I would like to hear it. And thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, to share the video, to like, and to post that comment. I hope that I see you in the next one, and I hope that you keep it locked. This is Willan. Peace.